Alright, this is a Coremoto brake line upgrade kit. We're going to attempt to install it on a 2006 CBR 1000RR. It's got a lot of upgrades to it already. We already did the Galfer brakes. Now we're just going to start taking the juice out of the calipers and getting it going. So we'll do a nice step-by-step. Alright, with step one, what we're going to do is we're going to drain all the juice out of the caliper and up here at the reservoir, get all the fluid out of it, lessens the chance of getting that evil stuff on your paint because brake fluid and paint doesn't mix. So what we're going to do is I'm going to break this banjo nut and get it loose with a rag, of course. And we're going to make sure that banjo 1's there. Banjo 2 is here. And we're just going to bring this outboard and we're just going to start squeezing. It won't get it all out, but it gets a good percentage out so that, again, it doesn't get on your paint. Alright, so what we're going to do now is the Honda CBRs have this T where you have one line coming down from the reservoir crossing over to the front and left caliper. This gets eliminated and we'll get to that later. Alright, so what we've done is we've disconnected both banjos from the right and left caliper and we swung all the brake lines onto the we're going to call it the right side. Up in the center, we've got a small bracket that you have to unhook, and now we're right at the banjo nut where the brake lever is. We're going to disconnect this and get the entire brake line assembly right out of the way. If you can get your wrench in there. Again, taking special care to try not to get the brake fluid on your paint because brake fluid and paint doesn't mix very well. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got banjo nut, would be the banjo fitting, and then the end one. We're going to save these as spares. These do not get reused. They come with new ones in the new kit. Alright, we've got everything disconnected and it's just a matter of just fishing the original brake line assembly out, and there you have it. That's the original CBR 1000RR front brake line assembly. This all gets thrown away basically, so we'll get to that. Alright, what we've done is we've attached the new Coremoto brake line to this side of the caliper. The other side's a carbon copy, and they just float up to the top where we're going to take a brand new banjo nut and we're going to double stack, whereas the stock system used the T down below. This is a double stack at the right at the lever, which is the way, if you look at any MotoGP bikes very close, it's the same way. So we'll be right back. Alright, so what we've done is we've reattached these two new lines by stacking them, and right from the factory they come with a nice bend to them, so they'll lay right where they need to go pretty much. And again, it's really key that you be really careful threading these new bolts back into the aluminum. You just got to, it's really fine thread. Make sure your 3 banjos are in place on top. Make sure your 2 banjos are in place on each caliper. Tighten everything up and start filling it with fluid. We're going to get right to it. Alright, what we're doing is we're going to reuse the factory attaching points with the rubber mounts, giving your line a little bit of flex here, and then just, you know, give it a spot where you want it. Get that bracket snug. now that's where she's going to lay. All right, and again, we're going to just reattach the factory side, or the factory clamp to this side with hardware provided from Honda at the time of the build. And again, just give it a little bit of a tweak. Get that snug. Now that's nice. Now we got, each line has no movement on the front fork. All right, took the rear peg assembly off because the screws for the top of the cap are hard to get to. So you bring the cap to you. You got this loose. This is a nice easy dump. Make sure you got all your parts. There's 3 pieces in there. Be sure to keep that nice and clean. And dump it out. Alright, now we got that emptied out for the most part. We got the 2 banjo nuts loose. So we'll pull these 2 assemblies off. Set them aside. And you got one little bracket right here. That's an Allen. And that just takes the rear brake line right off. Alright, we've got the new brake line installed. We got all our little gaskets are all in place. It's a pretty clean setup. If you've got all the tools and everything set up, it would take, give or take 2 hours to do the job. It's a real nice upgrade. Instant response with the braking and all that. So that pretty much sums it up. All we got to do is fill the reservoirs and bleed it out, and that's a Coremoto brake line install. So what we have is a set of fully installed Coremoto brake lines, front to back. Set right up. Good to go.